Good afternoon. We are going to begin with the second session of Block 2, Paper 9 of MA Final. This is a discussion about Nigeria and the Yoruba world. Nigeria officially, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is federal constitutional republic comprising 36 states and its federal capital territory, Abuja. Nigeria is located in West Africa and shares land borders with the Republic of Benin in the west, Chad and Cameroon in the east, and Niger in the north. The modern political state of Nigeria has its origins in the British colonization of the region during the late 19th to the early 20th centuries. It emerged from the combination of the southern Nigeria protectorate and North Nigeria protectorate. During the colonial period, the British set up administrative and legal structures whilst retaining traditional chiefdoms. Nigeria achieved independence in 1960 but plunged into civil war several years later. It has since alternated between the democratically elected civilian governments and military dictators. With its 2011 presidential elections being viewed as the first to be conducted reasonably, freely, and fairly. The Yoruba people are an ethnic group of southwestern Nigeria and southern Benin in West Africa. The Yoruba constitute over 35 million people in total. The majority of this population is from Nigeria and make up 21% of its total population. One of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. The majority of the Yoruba speak the Yoruba language, which is a tonal Niger Congo. The Yoruba diaspora consists of two main groupings. One of them includes relatively recent migrants, the majority of which moved to the United States and the United Kingdom after major economic changes in the 1970s. The other is a much older population dating back to the Atlantic slave trade. This older community has branches in such countries as Cuba, Brazil, Trinidad, and Tobago. Wole Soyinka's life and works. Wole Soyinka, a notable Nigerian playwright and poet, was born on 13th July 1934. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1986. He is the first person in Africa to be so honored. He perhaps is one of the most misunderstood, exceedingly controversial, unnecessarily and fiercely individualistic, exceptionally gifted, and radically ideological Nigerian in public and literary life. This rounded literary artist of Yoruba extraction is thus a living literary idol who has romanticized with all literary types. poetry, prose, and most importantly, drama. Apart from his saturated credentials as a political activist and a confirmed social and justice crusader, in order to affirm his cultural self alienation and political commitment, he wrote the ritual dramatic work A Dance of the Forest in 1960. And this is considered to be his best work. His literary output generally try to show the essential function of orature through the exploration of Yoruba mythology and its ritual drama. Important works of Wole Soyinka. First, we are going to discuss dramas. The Lion and the Jewel, published in 1959. The Dance of the Forest, 1960. The Swamp Dwellers, published in 1963. Before the Blackout, 1965. This drama also raised a lot of controversy. The Road, 1965. Kongi's Harvest, 1967. The Trial of Brother Jero, 1969. Madman and Spaceless, 1962. Commonwood on the Leaves, 1973. Death and the King's Horseman, 1975. Opera Wangoshi, 1981. A Play of Giants, 1984. Requiem for a Futurologist, 1985. A Scourge of Hyacinth, 1992. From Gia with Love, 1992. Then he is equally a good novelist. His major novels include The Interpreters, which was published in 1965, Season of Anomy, 1973. Then poetry. He is a multifarious genius, equally good at poetry. His major poetic output includes Indandre and Other Poems, which were published in 1967, Poems from Prison, published 1969, A Shuttle in the Crypt, published 1972, and it is a collection of the discussions of individual poems. Ogun Abibinan, 1976, Mandela's Earth and Other Poems, 1992. His autobiographical works include Akai, The Years of Childhood, 1981, and the second part, Isara, A Voyage Around Essay, 1990. Let's discuss the summary of A Dance of the Forest. A Dance of the Forest is perhaps the most difficult and complex among all the plays of Wole Soyinka on account of its archetypal characters, multiplicity of themes, complicated symbolism, and multi-dimensional technique. In it, Soyinka unveils the rotten aspects of the society and demonstrates that the past is no better than the present when it comes to the seamy side, the ugly side, the harsh side of life. Since the play was occasioned by the political event of the independence of Nigeria in 1960, Wole Soyinka had to select a theme to shoot the occasion. Day of Nigeria in 1960 He lays bare the fabric of the Nigerian society and warns people as they are on the brink of a new stage in their history. But being a richly endowed mind, he was not satisfied with the topical theme. He tried to extend its scope to wider and deeper levels of enriching it with the Yoruba mythology contained in symbols and various theatrical devices. Because of its complexity of themes and technique, the play often baffles the uninitiated readers. It needs a lot of mental acrobatics and the fast forward movement to go back and forward, to turn the so many pages back and again forward to properly grasp this play. It becomes rather difficult for any critic to decide its meaning equally successfully in all its ramifications. A Dance of the Forest focuses on Yoruba tradition as an important source. The role of Yoruba mythology is an emergent tradition and art in Africa. Yoruba is one of the largest ethnic groups in West Africa. The majority of Yoruba speak the Yoruba language. It is well known that Yoruba culture and tradition forms the background of several contemporary written dramas. As in other parts of Africa, Nigerian literary genre have been inspired by traditional religious performance genres. The Dance of the Forest presents a complex interplay between gods, mortals, and the dead, in which the ideal goal is the experience of self discovery within the context of West African spiritualism. The living have invited two glorious forefathers to take part in a feast and celebration, the gathering of the tribes. They have invited gods, human beings, and even the dead to gather in forest to take delight in the feast. The god Aroni, however, explains in the prologue that he received the permission of the forest head to select instead two obscure spirits of the restless dead, the dead man and the dead woman, who is his wife. In their former life, this dead man was a captain, and his wife from the army of ancient emperor Mata Kharibu. These two were selected because in a previous life they had been violently abused by four of the living. The four mortals are Rola, an incorrigible whore nicknamed Madame Tortoise, who was then a queen. Dimok, now a carver and then a poet. And the fourth is Adenbi, now council orator and then court historian. And the last is Agboreko, elder of sealed lips, a soothsayer in both existence. He was a soothsayer in the previous birth, he is a soothsayer in the present also. They have been selected because of past debauchery, the cheating, that they had with both the dead man and his wife. The debauchery which Aroni hopes can be expiated through revelation. Aroni further explains in the prologue that the forest head, disguised as a human, Obenji, invites the four mortals into the forest to participate in a welcome dance for the dead man and the dead woman. Aroni takes them under his wing after the living group like Rola and others refuse to help them. The dance is interrupted by the wayward spirit Ushuro, and this Ushuro is believed to be a satanic spirit, an evil spirit. Usuro seeks vengeance for the death of Oremole, a devotee of Oro and apprentice to the carver Dimok, who killed Oremole by pulling him off the top of the araba tree that they were carving together. Ogun, the patron god of carvers, defends Dimok. Ogun, the god of iron, war, and craftsmanship of Yoruba, and Oro, the Yoruba god of punishment and death, represent the antithetical forces that continuously interact until their hypothetical synthesis through which the mortals would attain self-understanding. Critical commentary on a dance of the forest. It is a challenging but also rewarding play with none of the flaws and excesses one expects from a young writer. The tone is not the one of a novice but of a wise writer who has spent a lot of time thinking about the great issues of human existence. This is also a remarkably unusual play. It draws copiously from Yoruba religion. Half the characters are either spirits or gods, and it juxtaposes a mythical, glorious African past with a prescient vision of a corrupt post-colonialist society. On top of that, it is a dense text with careful attention to him, with a slow drip of information. I had to read some passages a few times to properly grasp what was going on. After a reread recently, I am still not sure I fully understand it. The play is filled with observations about religion, tradition, history, honor, freedom, forgiveness, courage, love, and it mixes dialogue with poetry. Acting with dancing was young Soyinka's ambition. Oh, yes. So all these are the expert comments of Miguel. Solomon O. Ajumarana also observes, I see Soyinka's A Dance of Forests as an artistical and imaginative intervention in the debate. In this regard, I analyze the play as an imaginative exploration of the existential complexities of the human race, even though most critics appear to constrict the play's worldview and its attendant message just to the socio-political situation in Nigeria. I extend the discussion and contend that the play's localized worldview is a microcosm of its universalizing perspective. The remarks of Solomon or Azurmena are quite pertinent in this regard as the play actually is very complex. However, Wole Soyinka has rendered tremendous contribution to the world of literature. Even one play, Dance of the Forest, is sufficient to ascertain him a secure place and carve a permanent niche in the illustrious gallery of the shining playwrights. Dance of Forest deals not only with the three generations of past, present, and future, but the way he has used the symbols and the folklore of Yoruba, the cultural material, even the language of the play is a remarkable achievement of the playwright. However, it would be worth the while to discuss a few more important plays of Wole Soyinka. Let's first discuss his play, The Lion and the Jewel. The Lion and the Jewel is a comedy set in the small remote village of Elingile. There are three central characters: Lekunele, an eager but naive school teacher who accepts Western ideas and modernity without really understanding them. Baroka, the village chief who sees modern ideas as a threat to his power, and Siddhi, the jewel of the village, a beautiful woman who will choose one of the men for a husband. However, she is faced with a very crucial choice here. The choice is not so simple. The characters are exaggerated. Lekunale is arrogant and talks too much, and Baroka is cunning, but they are ultimately likable. However, they are poles apart. There is hardly any compatibility between the personality of these two characters. In the end, the men will have to deal with each other. As Baroka says, the old must flow into the new. Let's have a glance at another important play by Soyinka, The Swamp Dwellers. The Swamp Dwellers reflects the life of the people of southern Nigeria. Their vocation mainly is agro-based. They weave baskets, till and cultivate land. So basically, they are farmers who have been compelled by the situation to look the other direction. They offer grain, bull, goat to appease the serpent of the swamp. The traders from city come there for crocodile skins. They lure young women with money. And here comes another question, that the colonizers exploited the colonized not only monetarily but even physically. The swamp dwellers consummate their wedding at the bed where the rivers meet. They consider the river bed itself as the perfect bridal bed, because these are the people homeless wanderers, and for them, a house is beyond imagination. Sudden flood ruin the crops, throwing life out of gear. The road is another important play. It combines the psychic themes of tragedy and myth with the grim reality of death symbolized by the spider's web. Murano prods the web several times to draw attention to the parallel between the spider and the road as sources of sudden death. Professor's quest for the word is rendered ambiguous by the incongruous juxtaposition of his constant rhetoric about the revelations through the mystical word and his collection of spare parts for the accident stone. The search for spare parts is the commercial aspect of Professor's quest for the essence of death. However, there is a long list of Wole Soyinka's plays, of his mastery of craftsmanship, the themes that he selects, and in a way we can see that Soyinka is the true representative of Yoruba culture. And it would not be exaggeration to say that Soyinka himself is the true Yoruba culture.